back to Vermovian Tempest, and today's little video is all to do with making one of these onion charms that you can see hanging next to it. As we all know, onions are very efficient at sucking in and absorbing all the nasties and the lurgies and things, and there's long history with onions. Especially if people were sort of ill or alien and they put onions in the room with the person who was sick to absorb all those kind of nasty lurgies and things knocking about. Onion charms were also used as a defence item where malign, malicious magic was being cast against somebody. So this little charm that we're going to make in this sort of demonstration video is basically to absorb all and any negative energies and dark forces. We'll just put it that way. It will suck in, absorb anything that you wouldn't want around you or in your home or sort of affecting you. And you can see that it's kind of caged, and there's a usage of pins, and the pins are effectively to address whatever it is that's sort of sucked into the onion. And because of the way that it's done, it's whatever is caught in the onion is caged there until the onion has done its work. We've got some pine going on down at the bottom as well, for, I guess, protective measures, and some other little bits and pieces. So let's crack on and see how we actually get around to making one of these. Okay, so what have I got? Let's have a look. I've got my small sized onion, and it's still got some of its sort of outer skin on that's dried off, and there's enough sort of at the top that it can be gripped. Now, I'm kind of big on numbers. You don't have to be, and you can put any number that you want, but I've got 9 separate equal length threads of yarn. Now you could use ribbon for this, you could use strips of cloth or whatever the case may be. So I've got 9 lengths of that. I also have extra yarn because that's going to come in, and I've got my pine needles because, as we all know, sort of pine keeps, well, it repels sort of negative energies, darker forces and things, and it ties into the work that we're doing. Good pair of scissors for snipping off your yarn, and pins. Now these pins, as you can see, all various colours, and it's just because of these are what I've got to hand, but you could actually paint the ends in whatever colour you chose to do, or you could buy pins that were already of that colour. And I'm going to start on the next step, which, once I get my sort of yarns together, bear with me because they've all sort of spread around because I've just plopped them on the table. I'll show you in a minute and I'll come straight back. Okay, so as you can see, I've now got my onion hung up, and I've attached a loop of ribbon at the top, wound my 9 lengths of yarn around the top of the onion, and that's why you can see these bits of frou-frou sticking out at the top. Wound the ribbon around both the onion top and the yarn so that that is now secure and hanging, and then I've divided the 9 lengths of yarn all the way around the onion, pulled those lengths quite taut and pinned them in place, and I've got the rest of the length hanging down. Now don't cut that length off because we're going to use that afterwards. So then, with an extra piece of yarn, I'm now going to start threading this yarn in and out of these top sections of yarn at the top of the onion. I'll just try and get a bit more light for you. So these threads that go around the onion top, I'm going to be weaving in and out of these threads with the new length of yarn, and every time I come to one of these threads I'll tie a knot so it's nice and secure. So I'm going to start doing that, and I'll be back in a minute just to show you how that's getting on, so bear with me. Okay, so as you can see, I've started working my way around the top of this. Oh, let's put that there, let it swing. I've started working my way around the top of this onion with my knots, and as you can see, I'm starting to build a cage. There's actually two rows that I've done. I've done one very close to the top, and then I've come down and I've started on another row underneath, and I'm going to carry on doing some more rows till I hit where the pins are, and then I will come back and show you some more once I've done that. Okay, so I've done a few more strings and I've got down to the point where the pins were before, and what I've done from there is I've pulled the dangling strings, these ones that run down the length of the onion, I've pulled those taut, and if you can see, I've moved the pins to hold the wool, the yarn, underneath the onion now. So these strings are now secure underneath while I do the next portion of this onion. So I will continue to do that, and then I'll show you what I do when I get to the bottom where these pins are. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone to the bottom now. As you can see, it's threaded down to the bottom, and all I've done is remove the pins from the bottom of the onion, pulled all these strings that hang at the bottom of the onion really tight, given the whole thing a twist, and tied it off nice and secure at the base. So next on for the next step, because I had 9 lengths, I have enough to be able to braid these bottom bits. I'm going to pop some bits and pieces in along the way, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so I've finished doing my plaiting. I'm just going to lift this little onion up slightly so that you can see what's going on at the bottom. So I've got my pine going on now, and if I just try and tweak out a little bit, I've plaited these strings that were left at the bottom, and I've added in sort of, these are little holy stones and little, don't know whether you can pick that up, little quartz chips on the end. So there's a few of those hiding at the bottom. So as you can see, I've got my loop at the top, and then the cage, and then the pine and the bristles, the holy stones, going all the way down to these sort of teeny tiny little quartz crystals that are hiding at the bottom. So I'm just going to do some finishing up, and then I'll be back. Okay, so there we go, we've got our finished onion witch charm, and it's suspended at the minute from the cupboard with its through its ribbon. It's got all its caging on. It's got the pine for repelling sort of all the negative ick that we don't want, and any sort of dark forces going on around. We've got the little holy stones down at the bottom. I'll just try and zoom in slightly for you. I'm just going to try and move that camera slightly downwards. See if we can get this on for you. Let's see. Let's just move this camera. So you can see from that angle I have a variety of pins. And remember what I said about the colours of the end of the pins. You can buy them all one colour, so those pins will be, when this charm is used, will be switched out for the colour that I particularly want at that particular time. And then if I try to manoeuvre you downwards, you can see there's the pines. As I go further down, you can see the holy stone just there. Let's see, is it that one? You can see it is, it's that one. It's nestled in between. And as I hit the bottom, there are the little quartz. So, I really hope you've enjoyed this little video, and give it a go yourself. Why not? Simple things in a magical life. Okay, so we've got our finished item, and as you saw at the beginning, this is what all that hard work, patience, and it is patience because it can be quite fingers and thumbs when we're creating the cages and things on these things, especially when we're trying to work around the pins that are holding the threads in place. And if you find an easier way of doing this with the whole cage and knotting things, then fair enough. This is just my way. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little video, and I will see you again soon. Much love, many blessings. Bye for now. Bye bye.